Welcome to the Rabbi's class on Purim. L'chaim.
L'chaim, l'chaim. Purim Sameach August to everyone.
Thank you.
And wonderful to be together, enjoying some l'chaim and amen session and some learning on the scroll of Esther.
Amen.
Now we can start. So I assume you're all familiar with the story of Megillat Esther, the scroll of Esther. But what we're going to do is to raise some questions, actually towards the end, and then we go to the beginning. And hopefully after this class, you will never read Megillat Esther the same way. And that's the plan. Hopefully with Hashem's help, we will cover some important points as much as we have the time. So Megillat Esther starts from page 1252 in the art scroll, 1252. But we are going to start raising some questions on chapter 7. So come with me to page 1258. 1258. Anyone at home? We're using the art scroll Chumash. So then go to the class with the book. So let's read chapter 7. At this stage, we are talking about the feast that Haman and Achashverosh are invited by Esther, and then finally Esther revealing the terrible plan of Haman. He even fall off on the bed. It belongs to the queen and the king. Seems like that's it. It's the end. It should be the end. But let's read that and see. Almost at the end of that chapter, there's something that seems to be really so bizarre and not important, but actually is a very important thing to teach us. So let's read this quickly. Chapter 7. Who wants to read? Yes.
So the king and Haman came to feast with Queen Esther. The king asked Esther again on the second day at the fine feast, "What is your request, Queen Esther? It shall be granted to you. And what is your petition? Even if half the kingdom should be fulfilled."
Yeah. So this is the
It's a very generous offer.
absolutely, and this is the second will come after that slowly the build up. But I'm just coming already. It seems to be we're revealing what's happening. Yeah.
Do you want me to continue or someone else?
I do want, yes.
Okay. So Queen Esther
Francis
answered and said, "If I have won your majesty's favour, and if it pleases the king, let my life be granted to me as my request, and my people as my petition. For we have been sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, slain, and exterminated. Had we been sold as slaves and servant girls, I would have kept quiet, for the adversary is not worthy of the king's damage."
She is finally now revealing the final solution, right? This is the first final solution in the Jewish history. It's not just, even if we just been slave, I wouldn't say anything, but it's completely to destroy my people, right?
Does he know at this point that she's Jewish, or is this the first time that's revealed?
Oh, he doesn't know, but we'll come to that.
Okay,
Yeah?
sorry.
This is the moment. Yeah. Yeah?
Thereupon King Ahasuerus exclaimed and said to Queen Esther, "Who is it? And where is the one who dared to do this?" And Esther said, "An adversary and an enemy. This is a wicked Haman." Haman trembled in terror before the king and queen. The king rose in a rage from the wine feast and went into the palace garden, while Haman remained to beg Queen Esther for his life, for he saw that the king's evil determination against him was final. You want to make a comment?
No, go ahead. So here, a man already see the end in front of his eyes. Correct? Right?
Yes.
Look at this. More than that, number 8. Where are you? Verse 8?
Yes.
Yes?
When the king returned from the palace garden to the banquet room, Haman was prostrated on the couch, upon which Esther was. So the king exclaimed,
That doesn't leave any more for imagination. Correct? I mean, this is the end of a man. Right?
Yes.
Look at this. Go on.
So the king exclaimed, "Would he actually assault the queen while I'm in the house?" As soon as the king uttered this, they covered Haman's face, and Habonah, one of the
Oh, this is it. These last two verses are completely an enigma if you think about it. Let's read this.
You want to go over it again?
Yeah. Go to 10, finish the chapter, 9 and 10.
Then Habonah, one of the chamberlains.
Charbona, that's the Hebrew name, Charbona.
Thank you.
Yeah?
One of the chamberlains in attendance of the king said, furthermore, the 50-cubit high gallows, which Haman made for Mordecai, who spoke good for the king, is standing in Haman's house. And the king said, hang him on it. So they hanged Haman on the gallows which he had prepared for Mordecai, and the king's anger abated.
Come on. This is something we need to understand. What is the amazing advice of Charbona? More than that, look at the end, after the blessing, go to page 1262. There's a famous song, Shoshanat Yaakov, right? Everyone knows Shoshanat Yaakov. What is the last verse of 1262? וגם חרבונה זכור לטוב. And חרבונה too, look at page 1262, really the last verse. Yeah? And Charbona too, remembered for good. Page 1262. Right?
Whereabouts on it?
That's at the bottom. That's really the last verse.
Oh,
וגם
okay,
חרבונה
yeah.
זכור לטוב. Shoshanat Yaakov, the rose of Jacob, who, the whole story. And then, you know what? Charbona also remembered for good. What did actually Charbona say? Let's read. King, you know what? The king. Listen to this. You know what? Haman prepared the tree for Mordecai.
Yeah.
Great. Hang it on. But, etz, the word etz, hang him on the tree. Etz, it's etzah, is advice. Comes from the word etzah, which means a good advice. What is the etzah here? What's the advice? There's a Chashvarosh, righteous among the nation. Didn't know how to kill before. The gun wasn't invented yet, but what's the problem? How many people hanged in Shushan on a daily basis? Right? You go to Iran, still maybe into today.
Yeah.
What's the big deal? Charbona said, hang it.
Public hanging. Yeah.
Public. You didn't think there was before public hanging? The hanging was only in the dark basements.
No, but it's the ultimate
They needed to
humiliation.
make an
Ultimate
example.
humiliation.
What's the ultimate humiliation? If we would take a sword and chop his head, this is also quite public humiliating. But the Chavona's advice, you know what? It's the same tree that Haman. What's the big deal? Come on. Really, Achashverosh didn't know how to kill. Understood? This is really, and we remember this for good. This is like very important point, which actually seems to be really insignificant. Right. Similar to another attempt assassination. Let's go back to chapter 5.
The other interesting point
Yes.
is that the king decided that there was no trial, no defense offered, no.
Wait.
In using 21st century terminology,
Yes.
but it was literally off with his head.
He signed with his ring, with his stamp.
Yes.
To destroy the whole nation. There was no trial
No.
for the whole nation. So what is the problem to kill another person? Yeah?
But I think with that,
Yeah.
he didn't even ask why, what do you mean?
Yes.
He went out, but when he came back, Haman was all over Esther, and I think that was probably the crucial. That's it. He didn't even try to find out what he'd done.
But again, that moment, he should have taken his own sword and stabbed him. Not to wait to whatever you find a tree and hang him there. If he feels that he's threatening the queen in his own home on the bed, execute him immediately.
Yeah.
Yes? What's the idea? The advice? No, he told us it's Gavoa Hamishima, his height was 50 Amah. And if it was 20 Amah, he still can die. Right? All
When
right.
it says they covered Haman's face, is that the sign that he's going to be killed?
No. Fnaman Khafu means he was humiliated, embarrassed. He was his face fall down. Yeah? That's the idea of Pneiman Khafu. He couldn't look. He could not believe this is happening. Right? All right. let's go to chapter 5.
So that's a bad translation.
Right.
Yeah.
They covered his face. It's a bad
To me, it
translation.
looks
No, I think you're right. I think it is a bad translation. Pneuman chafur means he did like this. Oh my God, what's happening?
Is Chavona Jewish? Because the Vona.
No,
No.
Chavona not Jewish. Chavona was one of who is Chad Misarisei HaMelech, is one of the king's servants. Yeah, Chamberlain. No, not Jewish. Okay, chapter 5. We go to chapter 5. That's on page 1256. Correct. Again, this is the first Mishneh, the first feast. Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but this is the first time when finally Esther is taking the courage to come and stand in the courtyard when she's not supposed to, and Achashverosh sees her, and give her the okay to approach him. Yes, we'll see about that. And then he asks, let's see from the top of the page, maybe at the bottom of the page. Let's see, 1256 verse 6. Yeah. Dan, read from there.
The king said to Esther during the wine feast, "What is your request? It shall be granted to you. And what is your petition? Even if it be half the kingdom, it shall be fulfilled." So Esther answered and said, "My request and my petition. If I have won the king's favour, and if it pleases the king to grant my request and perform my petition, let the king and Haman come to the banquet, and I shall prepare for them. And tomorrow I will do the king's bidding."
Yeah, so that's the first feast.
Yeah.
And then Haman is coming out. Number 9.
That day Haman went out joyful and exuberant. But when Haman noticed Mordecai in the king's gate, and that he neither stood up nor stirred before him, Haman was infuriated with Mordecai.
Right. Okay, and then what happened?
He restrained himself and went home.
It was times that there's a joke, Haman was constipating. He's like Tapak Haman. And then what?
And he sent for his friends and his wife Zeresh.
It says to all his.
And Haman recounted to them the glory.
One second before that, we read what? Haman sent for his friend and his wife. It actually says Vayavet or Havav, those who loves him, those who love him, and his wife Zeresh.
Yeah.
So his wife didn't love him. It's separate. You see that? Vayavet or Havav, he brought his lovers, his good friends, and his wife. Yeah, so maybe he needed some couple counseling. Who knows? Yeah, there was a problem there.
Curious way of putting it there. Is it not?
Yeah, it is. Seems like the separate from his beloved ones. Vayavet or Havav, beloved ones, and his wife. Right? Okay, and he told them what?
He recounted to them the glory of his wealth and of his many sons, and every instant where the king promoted him and advanced him above the officials and royal servants. Haman said, moreover, Queen Esther invited no one but myself to accompany the king to the banquet that she had prepared. And tomorrow too I am invited by her, along with the king.
So he feels like on the top of the world right at the moment, right?
Yeah.
He's invited together with King Achashverosh to the queen's party, to the queen's feast. And there's only one thing that caused him to be upset.
Yes.
Yeah.
All this means nothing to me.
Means nothing.
As so long as I see that Jew Mordecai sitting at the king's gate.
Right. What's the problem?
Mordecai.
Well,
Being Jewish.
He's not acknowledging him as a powerful man.
No.
No.
He's
What's
Jewish.
the problem here? Why Haman doesn't execute him? Khalas, finish. Why Haman did not execute Mordecai? And he needs his amazing advice. Look at this, by his wife.
Then his wife Zeresh and all his friends said to him, let a gallows be made 50 cubits high, and tomorrow morning speak to the king and have him hang Mordecai on it. And then he was in good spirits. Then in good spirits.
Good spirit.
Excellent.
What's the problem again? Haman, such a righteous man, never killed a fly in his life, right? He cannot execute Mordecai on the spot and finish.
Is it because
He's so upset. He's so upset that without this amazing advice to hang Mordechai, yeah,
Doesn't make any
doesn't
sense.
make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? There it is. This is like, and again, Aman and Achashverosh, the most powerful people in the kingdom of Shushan, in the kingdom of Persia, yeah, cannot executing one person. So whether it's Aman cannot execute Mordechai, and it happened again when he was at the beginning. We'll see that when everyone bowed down to Aman, and only one person did not bow down. Who's that? Mordechai. So it's not good enough to kill Mordechai. You have to execute the entire nation.
Yeah.
Kill him. I mean, still not nice person, obviously, but it's still far away from deciding to annihilate a whole nation, right? He is upsetting you. He is, you're very powerful. That's the end. We cannot imagine a situation that a killing in a place like that would be something rare.
Yeah.
To be honest, right? We're not talking about times when there is democracy. We're talking about people being, coming to court, and we're talking about, a lot of politics and stuff behind the scenes. And obviously, the one who's the strongest and the most powerful have the last word, right? Look what happened to Vashti. We'll come to see that in a moment. Yeah. Okay. Another question. Let's go another chapter back. In chapter 4. So again, after we already know the decree already been sent out. This is in the end of chapter 3. The decree has been sent out to kill all the Jews all over the kingdom of Persia. And Mordechai, let's start number 4, chapter 4. Bargis, yeah?
Mordechai learned of all that had been done, and Mordechai tore his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes. He went out into the midst of the city and cried loudly and bitterly. And he came unto the front of the king's gate, for it was forbidden to enter the king's gate, clothed with sackcloth. In every province where the king's command and his decree extended, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting and weeping and wailing, most of them lying in sackcloth and ashes. And Esther's maids and chamberlains came and told her about it, and the queen was greatly distressed.
So the queen is greatly distressed. Why is she distressed? It's not obvious. Why is she distressed? What would you think? Don't read yet. She's distressed because
of the people lying in sackcloth and fasting
because of what? Not just because of the decree. Obviously, she's very distressed. No, but we learned something else. She's distressed about something else. Look at this. But she's distressed. What does she do?
She sent garments to clothe Mordechai so that he might take off his sackcloth, but he would not accept them.
Mordechai, the beautiful suit that you had for your bar mitzvah has now been torn. What is this she's sending to Mordechai to send him clothes? Obviously, he's torn his clothes for a reason.
Maybe some chicken soup.
Right?
Maybe some chicken soup.
Yeah.
Maybe she thought you'd gone crazy.
She's gone crazy. Look at this.
To find out what her name is.
But it's verse 2 tell us that in everywhere, it's in verse 3, B'chol medina, every province, wherever the king's command and his decree extended, there was great mourning among the Jews, with fasting and weeping and wailing. Obviously, Mordechai is in huge distress. He's coming to talk to the queen. Instead of what? She's sending in clothes. She doesn't understand. Where is it all coming from? Don't worry, there's a Versace. A lot of money for this suit. Yes, she's sending him a new, I don't know, maybe Hugo Boss. Whatever. Very, very strange. And then we continue.
What's she really sending?
What is she really sending? I don't know. Let's see. Number 5.
Then Esther summoned Hathach, one of the king's chamberlain, whom he had appointed to attend her, and ordered him to go to Mordechai.
Look at this. How many times we're going to learn about his Hathach. And what's going on? Every word. Look at the next couple of verses, yeah?
Yeah. So Hathach went out to Mordechai onto the city square, which was in front of the king's gate. And Mordechai told him all of that had happened to him and all about the sum of money that Haman had promised to pay to the royal treasuries for the annihilation of the Jews.
Mhm.
He also gave him a copy of the text of the decree, which was distributed in Shushan for their destruction, so that he might show it to Esther and inform her, bidding her to go to king to appeal to him and to plead with him for her people.
So obviously Mordechai understands that the only way to remove this decree is by Queen Esther acting on behalf of her people. Yeah? And then, look, the verse 9 says, Vayavo Hathach, and Hathach came. Yeah? Hathach came and told Esther what Mordechai had said. And then Esther told Hathach, what's going on here? So, what's this Hathach? And the Midrash tells us that this Hathach is maybe even Daniel, the prophet. And there was obviously an angel who came to help them to put together some kind of a plan to remove the decree. But again, we don't understand what is the environment there, why it has to be like that. We go into the beginning of Megillat Esther, and we're also finding quite a few strange things. Then we'll start maybe to open a little bit, read the Megillah in a different way. Okay, let's start the Megillah from the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it came to pass in the days of Ashwarosh, the Ashwarosh who reigned from Hodu to Cush, over 127 provinces. That in those days, when King Ashwarosh sat on his royal throne, which was in Shushan, the capital, in the 3rd year of his
Okay,
reign.
one second. Until so far, we understand this is someone very powerful. King Ahasuerus, who's ruling, he's a huge kingdom, Rhine, from Hodu to Kush, from India. What's Kush? Ethiopia. Like, really huge. 127 provinces, 127 countries. This is enormous. Chazal says that Ahasuerus was one of the kings who ruled Moshel B'Kippah, means it was basically the king of the world. Kippah means the globe. Yeah? Like Kippah, round. He ruled the world. The very, very powerful king. Okay? Something happened on the third year for his kingdom. What happens? Let's read.
In the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast for all his officials and his servants, the army of Persia and Media, the nobles and the officials of the provinces being present.
Okay, what does he do?
When he displayed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the splendor of his excellent majesty for many days, 108 days, and when these days were
180.
80 days.
180 days. Is that real? 180 days of feast? I mean, we have Purim one day in the year, we go tipsy, we go crazy. 180 days. Seriously, this is real? Every day, 6 months. What's 180 days? 6 months, half a year, partying day after night after night. What's going on here? It's a little bit over the top. Yeah, OTT, yeah? So that's a little bit too much. And what? To go above and beyond to show his what? His wealth and glory, right?
It's not also sending a message to the officials and those in the provinces of his ability to do this.
Interestingly, look at this. Interestingly, this is Malbin pointed out what you may be referring to, a number in verse 3. Yeah, in the 3rd year of the reign, he made a feast for all his officials and his servants. Yes, officials and servants. I mean, they're all coming to the feast. Are all in the same level? Everyone is coming to the what? Equality, right? Equality. That doesn't make sense, right?
And the whole army.
And the whole army is coming. Yeah, and then at the end he invites who? Only after that. So he first of all invites the officials and the servants, and then his army, and the last who?
And Kush.
The nobles and the official of the other provinces. He gives no respect to the countries he conquered, right? He invited them last. They're sitting, like, if there's a table, they're sitting in the economy near the toilet. Yeah? And he put his ministers and servants at the business class, right?
Yeah.
What's going on here? And then what? Look at this. Go number 5.
And when these days were fulfilled, the king made a week-long feast for all the people who were present in Shushan, the capital, great and small.
So after party. After 180 days of party, we have an after party. And we invite who?
All his officials.
Migadol Vadgaron again. Suddenly there is no hierarchy. Everyone is invited.
Small,
Right. Great and small. Yeah. Right.
In the court of the garden of King's palace, there were hangings of white fine cotton and blue wool, held with cords of fine linen and purple wool, upon silver rods and marble pillars. The couches of gold and silver were on a pavement
Enormous
of
wealth. Yeah.
and shell and onyx marble. The drinks were served in golden goblets, no 2 goblets alike, and royal wine in abundance according to the bounty of the king. And the drinking was according to the law, without coercion.
And by the way, when we read number 7, you have Ashkot Bichlei Zahav, V'chelim Mechelim Shonim, we read in the tune of Eicha, V'chelim Mechelim Shonim, the vessels from different vessels. We read in the tune of Eicha, which is the scroll of lamentation. Why is that? The Mikra says, here was such a, give us a little bit of history around here. But what happened here in Shushan? How he became such a powerful king? Who did he conquer, actually? Babylon. There was a great war against the Babylonian. He is now a powerful, he took over Babylon, yeah, and now become the great king. Yeah? And what Babylon, obviously? No. But they came to Jerusalem, took Nebuchadnezzar, took all, destroyed the temple, and took all the vessels. He has now vessels from the temple. When we read it, now you understand, when we read it in a different tune. Tomorrow you listen, this is for Reicha. We like mourning on those vessels that were used in the Holy Temple and now are served in a very disgusting feast. Yes? No honor to those holy vessels. Yeah? Right. Okay, and now let's jump to number 9 and Vashti. Look at this. Okay.
Vashti, the queen, also made a feast for the women in the royal house of King Ashwarosh on the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine. He ordered Nehuman, Betsita, Harbona, Bikta.
Another Harbona again here. Yeah.
Bikta and Karkas, and the 7 chamberlains who attended King Ashwarosh to bring Vashti the queen before the king.
Look at this. They call her here all the time Vashti the queen. Not Queen Vashti. Vashti the queen. To belate her as much as possible. Yeah. Let's see. What does he want from her? Yeah.
Bring Vashti the queen before the king wearing the royal crown.
What is the royal crown?
To show off to the people and the officials her beauty.
Yeah. And we all know what does it mean to show her beauty? Well, she would
wear only the crown.
Only the crown. Exactly. She would come naked to humiliate her. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. That's what Rashi and Rabbi all say that Gemara. He wanted to humiliate her. Why was that? Why was so important?
Was she taken from a conquered land?
Fantastic. Malbim says that this actually in a way was a political marriage. She was a descendant. I can't remember if she was the daughter or granddaughter of Nebuchadnezzar himself. So he wanted to show that actually my victory is irrelevant to my marriage. Everyone thought, he conquered Babylon. He became such a powerful man because of actually his wife, because of her connections. So this is an arranged marriage, he had to marry her in order to basically take over. But he wants, no. I want to show everyone. And this is why. The ministers, the slaves, and the last one on the providence. He's going to humiliate everyone to show his power. This is we're seeing the powerful dictator, a powerful dictator. Yeah, and look at this. This is ridiculous. What's going to happen now?
For she
refused because she knows she's a queen. She's standing on her rights. She's coming from a royalty family. She doesn't want to be humiliated like that. Yeah, go on.
But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment conveyed by the Chamberlains. The king therefore became very incensed, and his anger burned in him.
All right, so he's getting so angry. So angry. That's what? No. What is the advice?
Then the king conferred with the experts who knew the times, for such was the king's procedure.
Let's go to number 16. Yeah.
Nehuman.
No, sorry, in 14. Where are you?
Those closest to him were Harshena, Shetar, Admata, Tarshish, Eres, Marsena, and Nehuman. There are 7 officers.
By the way, Memuchan, the Rashi says that Talmud, that's Haman himself.
Oh.
And he was ready already to, give that kind of a evil advice.
Yeah. The 7 officers of Persia and Media who had access to the king and who sat first in the kingdom as to what should be done legally to Queen Vashti for not obeying the bidding of King Ashwarosh conveyed by the Chamberlains.
Yeah. So what's the advice? So she not only humiliated you by refusing, it's actually going to affect every household, right? Every family in the country. What's going to happen?
Nehuman declared before the king and officials, it is not only the king whom Vashti the queen has wronged, but also the officials and all the peoples in all the provinces of King Ashwarosh. For this deed of the queen will come to the attention of all women, making their husbands contemptible in their eyes by saying, King Ashwarosh commanded Vashti, the queen, to be brought before him, but she did not come.
So it's a wonderful feminist protest.
Yes, this feminine, but come on, she protests. Now the man needs to retaliate, right? What is now every woman? Yes, as to what? Go read that. Number 20. Sorry, number 19.
If it pleases the king, let there go forth a royal edict from him, and let it be written into the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it not be revoked, that Vashti never again appear before the king Ashwarosh, and let king confer her royal estate upon another who is better than she. Then when the king's decree, which he shall proclaim, shall be resounded throughout all his kingdom, great though it be, all the wives will show respect to their husbands.
All the wives should show respect every day. They will stand for 1 minute, salute, and to the husbands. Yeah,
great and small alike.
Again, is this king? Is he powerful, or is actually he ridiculous? Right? Chazal says, the rabbi says in the Midrash that because of this first scrolls, thank God for the first scrolls. Yeah, if they were taken seriously, yeah, people would take the second one seriously. The fact that the first one was so ridiculous, people didn't actually take notice of the second one. What were the second scrolls?
The edict against the Jews.
The decree against the Jews. This is also by only showing that how ridiculous this king is, people didn't take him seriously enough. But again, so what are we dealing with? With a dictator, with a very powerful person, or person that is actually afraid of the shadow of himself, right? His wife said something. All the wives now, need to suffer in the whole country. This is humiliating everyone. And both is actually true. We'll see that this is exactly what the character of Achashverosh is. On the one hand, he's very powerful. is about, this is happening in Shnat Shalosh Lemolcho, we said in the 3rd year, in verse 3, yeah? In the 3rd year of his reign. It's actually now about historically to go to another amazing war. Probably against the Greeks is the new power that about to rise in the world. Yeah? What is 180 days? How did that wealth come from? What he wants to show? He actually now trying to recruit more people. He's doing what? He's calling Chel Paras Umadai. He's calling all the officials and servants, but the army of Persia and Madai and Madaya. Yeah? He's planning now to another world war with the Greeks. And in order to make sure that this is going to happen, he needs a long planning. This is 180 days of probably the day were planned for a war and the night were for a party. So are you the king of the day, powerful and emperor, or you are a party boy during the night? This is exactly what the Megillah is trying to create here. What is who is Achashverosh here? Right? The powerful man of the day, or the ridiculous person of the night that is drinking all the time and what is, he can't even deal with his wife. He needs to destroy the entire, humiliate the entire woman of Persia, right? And then, okay, so he's feeling insecure, right? He doesn't find himself. Okay, comes chapter 2, and he remembers Vashti. Okay, after all, he needs a queen. Yeah, he needs a queen, and he's gonna call now. His servants calling him. Let's read that quickly, and let Sarah read as well.
How do you pronounce the king?
Achashverosh.
Ahasuerus?
Yes,
Ahasuerus.
that's good enough.
Ahasuerus.
Achashverosh. Yeah, they don't put the SH, yeah, just hey, Ahasuerus. It's in S, not SH. Achashverosh.
After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus
Really? Okay.
subsided, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what had been decreed against her. Then the king's pages said, "Let there be sought for the king beautiful young maidens, and let the king appoint commissioners in all the province of his kingdom, that they may gather together every beautiful young maiden to Shushan the capital, to the harem, under the charge of Haggai, the king's chamberlain, guardian of the women, and let their cosmetics be given them. Then let the girl who pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti." This advice pleased the king, and he followed it.
Okay, now we introduce to Mordechai. Okay, and look what's happening here. Yeah, Mordechai is actually not a simple person. He has actually also yichus. He is also coming from royalty, technically, right? Look at this. There was a Jewish man. Sarah, read.
In Shushan, the capital, whose name was Mordecai, son of Yair, son of Shemel, son of Kish, a Benjamite.
Son of Kish means is the son of Shaul. Is the son of King Shaul. He also comes from royalty, right?
Yes.
He is an important person, right? And now we read this as well in the tune of Echa. He's been exiled by Nebuchadnezzar. Yeah.
Who had been exiled from Jerusalem along with the exiles who had been exiled with Jehoniah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had exiled.
Yeah.
And he had reared Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, since she had neither father nor mother. The girl was finely featured and beautiful, and when her father and mother had died, Mordecai adopted her as his daughter.
Okay, look at this. This is something that people maybe don't read accurately enough. What's happening here now? Let's read number 8. So it came to pass.
So it came to pass when the king's bidding and decree were published, and when many young girls were being brought together to Shushan, the capital, under the charge of Haggai, that Esther was taken into the palace under the charge of Haggai, guardian of the women.
So was Mordechai happy with this or not? She was taken.
Yeah.
There was a decree that actually all the girls has to go and be basically the servants of the king, whatever that means. Yeah? She was taken from the house of Mordechai. Mordechai actually didn't volunteer her to the job. There was a decree here, because what is the decree? That all the girls in Shushan, yeah? But look at this in the beginning of verse 3. And let the king appoint commissioners in all the provinces of his kingdom, and they may gather together every beautiful young maiden. Can you imagine? He was trying to hide her, probably. He knows it's very dangerous for a young Jewish girl, beautiful Jewish girl, to go around that. He was trying to hide her. And perhaps, what's the reason? And we know that he told her, look at this, let's go on. And then she was taken, and she was obviously, the girl pleased him.
And she obtained his kindness. He hurriedly prepared her cosmetics and her allowance of delicacies to present her along with the 7 special maids from the palace.
Yeah.
And he transferred her and her maidens to the best quarters in the harem.
Right. Again, look at number 10. Esther.
Esther had not told of her people or her kindred, for Mordecai had instructed her not to tell.
Why? Why was it so important not to tell where she came from?
Dangerous.
Why it's so dangerous?
Anti-Semitism.
Anti-Semitism, definitely. But actually, according to...
He knew too that later on she would be very important in the story of the Jewish.
I don't know if he knew that. But I think something else.
But they were slaves, weren't they?
What? Who?
Mordecai. Weren't they taken from Babylon?
No, they were taken to Babylon and they were exiled.
Yeah. So.
According to the Malbim, this is an interesting idea. He actually didn't want her to become the queen. He thought all the time that if she would keep her, wouldn't say her identity, there was a good chance she could come back home. Once she's known as a relative of royalty, because he's royalty, she will become the queen.
Yes.
So he's scared and he's watching out. He tells her, don't tell. So it's not only anti-Semitism here, according to the Malbim, it's also politically. He was very concerned. Vashti was arranged marriage for political reasons. Okay? You don't like the Jews, so this is royalty better than just a girl from the street. On the other hand, it's still very dangerous because she's Jewish. Right? So he's watching out for her. Right. Okay.
Every day Mordecai used to walk about in front of the court of the harem to find out about Esther's well-being and what would become of her.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So finally, look at this, number 17. Let's jump down to number 17. 16. Esther was taken. Now finally, 15. Let's start from there. Now when the turn came for Esther.
Now when the turn came for Esther, daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had adopted her as his own daughter.
Yeah, now probably Mordecai understand this is all from Hashem. She must be taken for a reason. Yeah, he was scared. He was hoping all this time that she'd come back to him. Yeah.
She requested nothing beyond what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, guardian of the women, had advised.
Yeah.
Esther would captivate all who saw her. Esther was taken to King Ahasuerus. I'm sorry, I find it really hard. Into his palace in the 10th month, which is the month of Teves, in the 7th year of his reign. The king loved Esther more than all the women, and she won more of his grace and favor than all the other girls, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen in place of Vashti. Then the king made a great banquet for all his officers and his servants.
No, another reason for a party. It's always good. We don't want to miss an opportunity.
And he proclaimed an amnesty for the provinces and gave gifts worthy of the king.
Right. And then, what? Where are you? Verse?
And when the maidens were gathered together the second time and Mordecai sat at the king's gate, Esther still told nothing of her kindred or her people.
Now we'll start to understand something here. Yeah?
As Mordecai had instructed her. For Esther continued to obey Mordecai.
So what is Mordecai doing in the king's gate? What is that? What's the king's gate? What is Mordecai doing there? Is he a bodyguard? What does he do? What?
Is he instructing Esther what to say? And what
He's
not to
instructing
say?
Esther. What's the king's gate? Mordechai yoshev b'sha'ar hamelech. Yeah? Look at this. Let's jump for 1 second. As we know, we introduced in chapter 3, we introduced with Haman. And then we know that every day, on the top of page 1255, yeah?
So the-
1255.
So the king's servants at the king's gate said to Mordecai, "Why do you disobey?"
Sorry. Before that, let's
All-
start from the bottom of from verse 2. All the king's servants.
All the king's servants at the king's gate would bow down and prostrate themselves
Yeah.
before Haman, for this is what the king had commanded concerning him. But Mordecai would not bow down nor prostrate himself.
Right.
So the king's servants at the king's gate said to Mordecai, "Why do you disobey the king's command?"
Mhm.
Finally, when they said this to him day after day, and he did not heed them, they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's words would avail.
Okay. So there is something about this king's gate.
Yeah.
Everything happens in the king's gate. What's the king's
Yes.
gate? It's not just a normal gate. I know that.
Is it the entrance to the precincts of the royal court?
No. Fantastic. More than that. It's not just the entrance. It is the court. שער המלך, שופטים ושוטרים תיתן לך בכל שעריך. We learn that in the Torah. Look at this. Now we understand why it's not so easy for a man to execute Mordechai. Let's read in Parashat Shoftim, page, just one, this will be our only jump today. 1024. Yeah?
1024.
1024, 1025. Just hold the page. Yeah? Maybe another jump, as you all know. Mishlei. Yeah? Everyone has Parashat Shoftim. שופטים ושוטרים תיתן לך בכל שעריך. Judges and officers shall you appoint in all your cities. Wrong. בכל שעריך means that's the courthouse. שער means the courthouse.
Where's that in the
שופטים ושוטרים תיתן לך בכל שעריך.
Yeah.
שער. מרדכי יושב בשער המלך. מרדכי sits in the king's court, not just the gate. Sha'ar means court in Hebrew.
So it says here, back here, that is it like Mordecai is obviously one of the king's servants. But what's his
Mordechai,
role?
look at this. We're coming, you're asking a wonderful question. Just to prove you again,
Yeah.
the word Sha'ar also refers to it's also gate, simple Hebrew.
Mm.
But here in the Torah, it refers as the courthouse.
Judge the people.
Yeah, this is the place to judge the people. So who sits in the courthouse? A judge.
Yeah.
This is the place for the judges. This is the courthouse. Yeah, it's not just the clerk. It's actually the judges sitting in the king's sha'ar, in the king's gate, right? What do we say in Eshet Chayil? Noda b'she'arim ba'ala. Her husband in the gates, not my presence in the gate. Her husband is a judge. Yeah, she's doing her work. Her husband is a judge. So what's present in the gates? Which gates? In the what gates? Gate for the Luna Park. What gates? Gates means he's known as a great judge, as an important judge. Then everyone praise him for his wisdom. What she does at home, he does outside in the gates. She's so
And credits.
yeah. Understood? So Mordechai, let's go back. Let's understand now this verse. Verse 19. And sorry, in page 1254. Yeah, and it's still on chapter 2, verse 19. 1254, verse 19. Yeah? What is the connection in these two parts of the sentence? And when the maidens, can you see that? And when the maidens were gathered together the second time, and Mordechai sat at the king's gate. What does it mean?
It's the harem.
It's what?
The harem, that is the the place where the women are kept, the harem.
No.
Is it
What are you
within
trying
the
to
palace?
say?
Is it within the palace?
No, it says here basically.
Is it something to do with the verb sit at? Is this verb, I don't know what, I can't
Oh, you mean to sit could be like to judge over.
Like a judge.
Yes.
How Mordechai became a judge? How Mordechai became a judge suddenly?
Because he's descended from royalty.
Descended from royalty. That's correct. The Talmud says he was a judge already before. Where? In the Sanhedrin. Yeah, he was sitting in the Jewish court back in Israel as a Sanhedrin. But who appointed him here? Esther. Esther, the first thing to do, so to speak, by her own, to make sure that he is appointed as a judge. Yes?
But it says she didn't do anything beyond what the chamber guy said.
She managed to push him to be a judge.
But Mordecai is also telling her all the time, trying to tell her what to
This
do.
is when
When
you have connection, you don't need protection. That's the right verse. Yes? He protected her. She made the right connection. So he is actually not just a judge. He's a supreme judge. He sits in the palace court. He's not just in the provinces. This is a supreme judge. So now,
is that one of the reasons why Haman had to kill all the Jews to include Mordechai, not target Mordechai?
fantastic. Haman is confused. Okay. King Ahasuerus appointed Haman. What? We actually skip that, but or the beginning. Look at here, beginning of chapter 3. After these things, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman. Ahasuerus, as we said, is in a very dire strait situation. Yeah. On the one hand, he wants to show his powerfulness. On the other hand, we said he's very weak. He needs someone. Especially he stays now all the time in the palace. Nobody can approach him. Even when the queen wants, she knows it's very dangerous.
So it's
Why?
It's an assassination risk the whole time.
Absolutely. And we know that. What happened in verse 21? Look at this. Biktan Bateresh. Right? Look at chapter 2. Again, it's same page 1254. Verse 21. Yeah? He put himself in a golden cage. He's scared. He's scared. It can happen in those days when Mordechai was sitting at the king's gate, right?
In the king's court.
In the court. We started to put the pieces together. Bigtan and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, of the guardians of the threshold, became angry and plotted to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. Right? And of course, Mordechai told that to Esther, and that's written in the Sefer Zichronot, in the memories book, Chronicles. Yeah? So it's obvious that his life is at risk. He feels very insecure. So he put himself in the palace. When Esther wants to approach him, what she said to Ahasuerus? Yeah, let's go now. Let's all understand. Yeah? Look at this. Page 1256. We stopped that with a Hatach. Yeah? Look at verse 10. Then Esther told the Hatach to return to Mordechai. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces are well aware that if anyone, man or woman, approaches the king in the inner court without being summoned, there is but one law for him, that he would be put to death. Even the queen herself cannot approach him. Yeah. So what does it mean? He is scared. He's scared from assassination. He's scared to be killed. It's very dangerous for him. Right? So she can't do anything. But then Mordechai told her, listen, if you don't do that, the salvation will come from a different place if you're not going to do that. Right? We read that in the next one. The next verse is a very powerful verse. Yeah? She realized she's going to give her whole self to it. She knows it's very risky. It's life risking. She can be put to death immediately.
Yeah.
Easily put to death. But she realized that she's now been sent to save her people. Yeah? And Mordechai told her, you won't do that, Hashem will save us. But who knows if this is not your appointment for? Now we realize that. Amazing, right? We go back. So Mordechai, he is a supreme judge. He sits in the higher position. Why Haman cannot kill him straight away? Because Haman. We know. Ahasuerus He's now locked in the cage, in the golden cage. He needs someone to run the kingdom. Who he appointed? Haman. Haman is the powerful, the right hand of the king. Yeah? And he gave him the ring. Correct? Haman sees Mordechai, is very upset. He cannot kill him. He can't kill him. Why?
So, like, did the king know what Haman was doing with the ring? Like, was he aware of the decree or not?
He is not aware at this stage yet. Look at this. So he's giving now all the power to Haman to run the country. And Haman is very happy until there's one Jew, but he's not a random Jew. He is the supreme judge. And you can't execute supreme judge. Why you can't execute supreme judge? Because maybe Haman thinks to himself, I know I'm the right hand. But actually, what is the relationship between Achashverosh and Mordechai? How can I jeopardize this if I actually don't know? It's not easy to execute the supreme judge.
Yeah.
Yes?
Did he not know that Mordecai had told the king about the two that were plotting?
Obviously didn't know. He obviously didn't know.
Okay.
And at this stage, in the eyes of Achashverosh, Haman is his right hand. As you remember, Achashverosh don't know yet about this story even. He can't remember it, right? Now, later on, we'll come to that as well. But at this stage, the two powerful outside Achashverosh, on one hand, the Haman. Haman thinks that Mordechai is very powerful as a supreme judge, but he's very upset. So the only way to get rid of Mordechai is by knowing, actually, he's Jewish. Let's create a decree on the entire Jewish people. And, by the way, Mordechai will be then included. Otherwise, I cannot execute him. He will jeopardize his position of the Supreme Court. Yes? Wonderful. Yes? Want to ask a question?
No, I don't have a question.
No. Vargas.
No, I was just, I can't. So you're saying that in one side it's Haman and the other side is Mordechai.
No. Mordechai is...
When it comes to power.
In the eyes of Achashverosh, Haman is the power.
Right.
But Haman
thinks that
also Mordechai has a very close relationship with Achashverosh. And he cannot kill Mordechai yet. Because then, how do you don't know what's going on? I mean, Achashverosh as a good king could keep secret from Haman. But he hasn't. And he went too far to give him all the authority. He gave him the ring. Right? He gave him the ring. Then, okay. Let's see where the change is coming up. Let's go ahead. Yes? All right, so he gave him the ring. The decree on the Jews is out. Basically, in order to execute the supreme judge, you have to execute his entire people. This environment, and again, obviously cannot just rise from nothing. It's not just Haman. This is something that comes in the ground. You know that the Holocaust without Goebbels and all the whole machine.
Yes.
And this is in the modern times. So much more so in the olden times. Yeah, they could absolutely, waves of an anti-Semitism. So that ground is obviously bubbling and very, very hot ground. On that ground, he takes his opportunity. Okay, that's the environment. Right. Okay. So Mordechai now, when we saw how was Mordechai changing his clothes, and Esther is also in a golden cage. Well, could be that Esther didn't know yet about the decree. All the Jews knew, but Esther is isolated. She can't even go to the courtyard to meet with the king. So she is isolated. There was no WhatsApp group for all the Jews to tell her the decree is out. And so once she saw him, she saw that Mordechai without his normal clothes, she's sending because this is you're gonna be known. You're gonna be related to the Jews. We have to protect you. You won't protect me. That I won't reveal my identity. You doing that, you automatically reveal yourself as the supreme judge is a Jew.
So the clothes were a disguise.
Right?
Clothes were a disguise. She sent him clothes like stop revealing.
Totally. And look at this. He needs to talk to Hatach where? In the street. They can't trust anybody. Look at this again. Let's go to verse 1256, page 1256. The top of the page. Then Esther summoned the Hatzach, one of the king's chamberlain whom had appointed to attend it, and ordered him to go to Mordechai to learn what is it and what. She doesn't know. She actually doesn't know. She's also in that golden cage, as we said, locked up in the palace. Yeah. So to learn what is all about. So Hatzach went to Mordechai onto the city square. They can't. It's not safe to speak in the palace. You know, you have to go outside, maybe in a cafe, outside somewhere. But everyone is listening. There's no trust here in anybody. Yeah, you see that? Right. So Mordechai understand now the only way is that Esther has to go to the palace, has to go to speak to King Ahasuerus. And she said, okay, I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to put my life on risk in order to. So what's the plan? Look at this. Now let's read these two mishtaot, these two feasts in the eyes of Ahasuerus. So now let's, in chapter 5, the beginning of chapter 5, page 1256.
Now
Let's read someone else.
Now that's
Yeah, now.
Now it came to pass on the third day, Esther donned royalty and stood in the inner court of the king's palace, facing the king's house, while the king was sitting on his throne in the throne room, facing the chamber's entrance. When the king noticed Queen Esther standing in the court, she won his favor.
Okay, so already a miracle. We said before, anyone who would approach Achad Dato Le'amit, a decree to put to death on the spot. He's very scared. Someone is going to assassinate. This is very, very much a live situation. SOS, right? Somehow, miraculously, Hashem's help, she find favor in his eyes, and he called her to approach. Yeah? Verse 3.
Verse 3?
Yeah.
The king said to her, "What is it for you, Queen Esther, and what is your petition? Even if it be half the kingdom, it should be granted you." Esther said, "If it please the king, let the king and Haman come today to the banquet that I have prepared for him. Then the king commanded, "Tell Haman to hurry and fulfill
Let's stop
Esther's
here. Let's
wish."
think in the eyes. Let's see it in the eyes of Ahasuerus. Ahasuerus, oh my God, what have I done? I put this Haman as to be my right hand, and suddenly he's actually plotting something with Queen Esther against me. What is it? It says, "Maharula Haman, hurry up, bring Haman straight away." Why is that? He's scared that they are actually plotting together now. King Ahasuerus is so
Paranoid.
Paranoid of the situation. She's coming, he likes her, but suddenly she's calling him out. How did I not see it? Actually, everyone is bowing down to him. Where are my posters? Where are my sculptures out there? Everyone bows to a man. So dangerous, this position to be the second hand to the king. Because what? One more step, you'll be the king. This is so easy. One more step for Haman, and he'll be the king. He will rule the entire universe.
Kingdom.
Look at Yosef. Yosef was very unique, being Mishneh LaMelech, being the second hand of Pharaoh, and not taking over. You have to have so much trust in such a position, yeah, to give everything, to basically give your stamp. There's a lot of parallel between the story of Pharaoh and Yosef, and Ahasuerus and Mordechai and Haman. It's not, maybe next year. We'll talk about those ones. But this is exactly, suddenly Ahasuerus finds himself, oh my God, Haman wants my chair. I'm not safe. So he's called Maharula Haman. Hurry up. He's afraid that any minute there's more to plot. He needs to come here and supervise him under his nose. Do you understand? Well, the messages will go between Queen Esther and Haman. Very, very dangerous. Okay? So they hurry up. In verse 5, the king commanded to tell Haman
to tell Haman to hurry and fulfill Esther's wish. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. The king said to Esther during the wine feast, "What is your request?" it shall be granted you. And what is your petition? Even if it be half the kingdom, it shall be fulfilled.
But look at this, what's happening in this banquet now? Like, can you imagine King Ahasuerus is actually running in that party, doesn't actually eat anything. Maybe it's poisonous. Maybe this is the assassination gonna happen now. But he also says Queen Esther doesn't eat anything. Why?
Kosher.
Not kosher or not kosher. She's fasting.
She's
For
fasting.
3 days. He doesn't know that. But she doesn't touch anything. But Haman is putting his hand everywhere in the food and he's eating from it. Oh my God, he's saying that himself. Haman knows exactly what the poison is. He knows what to eat. I cannot touch anything. You know, is the person who's so into parties cannot really enjoy the party. He's so paranoid. He's so scared to death.
Where does it say that he's not eating?
I'm
Oh,
just
you're
trying to elaborate what's happening in
Filling in
his
the
head.
gaps.
okay, right.
Yeah, in the absence
What's
of
not
what,
said.
what's not said. Yeah, but the feeling of distress and paranoia is so great here. If you really read it this way, it's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So now he says, okay, what do you want? I can't wait anymore. Look at this. It says to Esther, right? Even if half of the kingdom, come on, I want it. So Esther answered, my request now, what to do? No, top of page 1257. Esther, read for us. What did Esther say?
If I have won the king's favor, and if it pleases the king to grant my request and to perform my petition, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and tomorrow I will do the king's bidding.
Amazing. Let's stop here. Ahasuerus doesn't know what happened. And now I need to come again with the man? Yeah? What's happening here? Who can I trust?
Maybe the two are going to assassinate him.
Yes, he is in his head, perhaps. He cannot trust anybody. Yeah? Right? Let's go on.
That day Haman went out joyful and exuberant, but when Haman noticed Mordecai in the king's gate, and that he neither stood up nor stirred before him,
Haman is amazed. I'm invited to the queen's house with the king. But there's one thing I'm upset about. What?
Haman was infuriated with Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman restrained himself and went home.
Yeah.
He sent for his friends and his wife Zeresh, and Haman recounted to them the glory of his wealth.
And we asked, what's the big deal here? What's the big deal? Why he couldn't, we understand he couldn't kill him because he's supreme judge. But he actually, until this very moment, he didn't know who's higher. Where's the higher position? By the right hand or the supreme judge? But now Zeresh tells him, and what does he tell? But let's read again. Sorry, verse 12. Haman said,
moreover, Queen Esther invited no one but myself to accompany the king to the banquet that she had prepared, and tomorrow too I am invited by her along with the king.
Yet all this
means nothing to me, so long as I see that Jew Mordecai sitting at the king's gate.
And now Zeresh is genius. Number 14. Then his wife Zeresh
and all his friends said to him, let a gallows be made 50 cubits high, and tomorrow morning speak to the king, and have them.
What's the answer? Zeresh basically told him,
you're invited to the banquet. Mordecai's not. Ask the king, he'll let you kill him.
No,
Oh.
you're almost. You are more powerful. Yes, something going to say that. You are invited. Mordecai is not.
Yes, that's what
yes.
That's what she said.
Then you are more important.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Oh.
You are more important. Now it's obvious. There's no, you're not in the same level. You're higher. Now you have all the permission to build a big gallows and hang him in front of everybody. The king will be happy with that. Nothing to worry. Yes? Now finally there's a revelation for Haman. Who's more powerful? The supreme judge apparently is not as important to the king as I am. Okay? But let's now stop here and go to number 6. Chapter 6. Yeah, we read also that in the tune of Rosh Hashanah. And that night, the kings, the king who didn't sleep. King of Kings didn't sleep. Yeah. Well, we learned in the Megillah that everywhere that it says Hamelech Achashverosh refers to Achashverosh, but that's just the Hamelech refers to the King of Kings, to Hashem. You know, Megillah is the only place when Hashem's name is absent. Yeah, there's something extraordinary in the whole Tanakh. There's no book like that Hashem's name is absent, right? And then, can you imagine why couldn't he sleep? Now we understand. That night, sleep eluded the king, so he ordered to bring the record book. Let's read. Let's understand what is that. Why couldn't sleep?
Scared of
Obviously, when someone is plotting against you, when someone wants to execute you, you can't sleep.
Well, you don't
right? You have sleepless night, and your imagination is going above and beyond what's actually really happened. So he couldn't sleep. So what happened? He's asked, okay, Lavi, it's Sefer Zichron. What is Sefer Zichron? You know, when you finish year 6, I sit on the window and with my pencil. And all my friends wrote me. There's got nice songs about that, right? You take from all your mates in the class. They write for you in the book of memories. Yeah. But actually, what's Sefer Zichronot? What's Yom HaZikaron? Rosh Hashanah, Yom HaDin.
Judgment.
The judgment. Zikaron is a judgment. He asked to bring the book of judgment, the case law. He asked to bring all the cases from court. What happened? And miraculously, it opened at what page? Mordechai. Okay, so he brings several members. Yom HaZikaron. Rosh Hashanah is called Yom HaDin, Yom HaZikaron, the judgment day. Because all the memories, all the judgments are now appears again before Hashem. Yeah? So he brings the book from court, so to speak. And this is the first memory, the first judgment that comes up to his head is what? Look at this. At this stage, can he trust anyone? Not even the queen.
Not even his number 2. Yeah.
His number 2, and now the queen and Haman are actually plotting against him. He's again in the golden cage of the palace. Everyone wants to assassinate him. But he opens the book. Oh my God. Maybe there is one person I can trust. Who's that?
Mordechai.
Okay, let's read verse 2, or from the beginning, verse 1. That night,
that night sleep eluded the king, so he ordered that the record book, the Chronicles, be brought and be read before the king. There it was found recorded that Mordechai had denounced Bigtana and Teresh, 2 of the king's chamberlains, the guardians of the threshold, who had plotted to lay hands on King Ahasuerus. Right?
Yeah, Achashverosh. Achashverosh. Correct.
What honor or dignity has been conferred on Mordechai for this, asked the king.
Okay, he asked his servants. What did they say? Nothing. Okay, the king now realized they haven't acknowledged the only person who showed loyalty to him. Yes? Right?
Nothing has been done for him, replied the king's pages.
Yeah?
The king said, who is in the court?
No. Okay. Go on.
Now Haman had just come into the outer court of the palace to speak to the king about hanging Mordechai on the gallows.
He's coming because he realized he's greater than Mordechai. At this very moment, Achashverosh couldn't sleep. We learned that Mordechai is actually the loyal person in the entire kingdom. Right? Haman comes in, right? Marul Avit Haman, bring Haman in. Yeah, go on.
So the king's servants answered him, it is Haman standing in the court. And the king said, let him enter.
Yeah.
When Haman came in, the king said unto him, what should be done for the man whom the king especially wants to honor?
Okay, Haman is obviously thinking it's all about
me. Does that distract him from his purpose of killing Mordechai?
No. No, I'll show you why not. Look at this. Go on. So he's oh my God! Now I've got more power. Why is that? What does he say? Let's understand. What did he say?
Now Haman reasoned to himself.
Yeah.
Whom would the king especially want to honor besides me? So Haman said to the king, for the man whom the king especially wants to honor, Have them bring a royal robe that the king has worn, and a horse that the king has ridden, one with a royal crown on his head.
Stop here. Haman is everything, but three things. Haman has already has the ring. Haman is ruling literally now, practically the kingdom.
And he's been invited.
If he's been invited. What is the three symbols that actually now is going to be the king? Wearing the king's crown, wearing his robe, and riding his horse. Why did he say that? Because this is now the complete mission, basically ready to take over. Yes? He has everything else. Now this acknowledgement, he thinks to himself, will crown him. But now, Achashverosh realized this is his plan, right? Now you say that because you want to be the king. I don't trust you anymore. Go take Mordechai. So he runs to take Mordechai. Look at this, number 9.
Then let the robe and horse be entrusted to one of the king's most noble officers, and let them attire the man whom the king especially wants to honor, and parade him on horseback through the city square, proclaiming before him, "This is what is done for the man whom the king especially wants to honor."
Fantastic. Okay, look at this, number 10.
Then the king said to Haman,
Boom.
"Hurry, then get the robe and the horse as you have said, and do all this for Mordecai to do."
He said, what a great joke. This is, keep it for Purim. Such a great joke. Yeah? This is unbelievable. He could not even believe. What is that? What happens? Look at this, number 11.
This is the king's gate. So Haman took the robe and the horse and attired Mordecai and led him through the city square, proclaiming before him, "This is what is done for the man whom the king especially wants to honor."
Okay, number 12 coming up. Yeah.
Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman hurried home, despondent and with his head
Desponding and
covered.
with his head covered. Here, Chaful Rosh, the Midrash says, a very interesting Midrash, that Zeresh, his wife, saw that happened. She was sure what? Haman is on the horse and Mordechai is leading him. Yeah, so what she took, the pot full of, from the toilet and put on his head.
Yeah.
She didn't realize this is her husband.
Oh my God.
Right? That's how, the Midrash is elaborating the cynical situation here. Right? For all the disgusting toilet stuff on his head, she was sure she is, putting it on Mordechai's head. Right? Now she realized he comes back full of whatever. And she told him, if it's from the people of the Jews, right? 13. Yeah, please come.
No, I'd be too noisy.
Number 13. Haman told
His wife Zeresh and all his friends everything that had happened to him. And his advisors and his wife Zeresh said to him, "If Mordecai, before whom you had become to fall, is of Jewish descent, you will not prevail against him, but will undoubtedly fall before
it's falling
him."
down, but we're coming back. Let's go now to chapter 7. We're about to finish with the beginning. The question: what is Chorban actually did?
Yeah. So the king and Haman came to the feast with Queen Esther. The king asked Esther again on the second day as a wine feast, "What's your request, Queen Esther? It shall be granted you. And what your petition, even if it's up to half the kingdom, it shall be fulfilled." So Queen Esther answered and said, "If I have won your majesty's favor, and..."
Now she is finally revealing her identity, what nation she is. Yeah, only at this point, he actually did not know. The Malbim brings that all this time he's trying to find out, and she keeps the secret away from him. Yeah? Yeah, she has been so good keeping the secret that she's from the Jewish nation until this very moment. Yeah?
And if it pleases,
and now,
king, let my life be granted to me, and as my request, and my people as my petition.
Right. Number 5 comes up. Let's go to number 5.
Number 5.
The phone, King Achashverosh.
Exclaimed and said to Queen Esther, who is that? where is the one who dared to do this? And Esther said, and advertised and an enemy. This is wicked Haman. Haman trembled.
This wicked man, yeah?
Haman trembled in terror before the king and queen.
And now he's completely embarrassed. Let's go number 8. When the king returned from the palace garden
This
to the
is
banquet.
the first time we have king and queen together, don't we?
Yes.
Is this a sign in the text that finally they're on the same page? Or?
No, he's not. Actually, he's very confused at this stage. But
still confused.
He's still confused. 1 second. So she is now with a man or against a man? She's now. Is this a plot? I don't understand what's happening here. The Hashvarosh is confused because before he thought these two are plotting against him. In the first piece, and now she's actually saying, Hashvarosh, Haman wants to kill my people. Who do I believe? How is it going to be confirmed? Who's telling me the truth here? Until Charvona comes and he says, you know what? What is the evidence that actually she's saying the truth? Haman is already the only person, the anchor of your loyalty is one person. Who's that? Mordechai. But listen, look at this, Haman. Well, number 9, quickly.
Okay, then
Charvona, yeah.
One of the chamberlains in the attendance of the king said furthermore, and the 50 cubit high gallows which Haman made for Mordechai, who spoke good for the king.
He came in this crucial moment, showing the evidence that this is a man. This is a man that actually want to assassinate
the king.
Your loyal, the only loyal person in the kingdom. Now, take him to the put him on that same gallows. That's it. Chalas, Charvona, Zachor. And let's imagine what would have happened if Charvona wouldn't come at that moment. We don't know because it's not. Yeah, let's try to imagine what could be the situation if Charvona wouldn't come in that crucial moment and coming and saying, you know what, Haman wanted to kill Mordechai, which is actually the most loyal person. The only person who spoke good for the king. Right? What would have happened? Let's imagine. A man would say, you know what? I'm sorry. I stepped too much. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Yes? I made a mistake.
Too late.
You know? No. If Charvona wouldn't come and show the gallows, a man would come and try to protect himself.
What's the significance of going into the garden? Him walking into the garden.
What do you mean?
When the king walks into the garden, it seems a bit.
Okay, so it's not part of the conversation, but I can answer you. We said that Hashem's name is not here, but also the temple is not here, and Bet HaMikdash is not here, and Shushan Abira has actually been exchanged for Jerusalem. Was the capital. Yeah? It's actually, if you read the history books, this happened already after Koresh. What's his name? Cyrus already gave permission to the Jews to come back. Yes? The Jews decided to stay in Shushan. This is not a good look. By the way, from the time of the, I didn't want to talk about that, but it's interesting. From the time of the decree actually happened when in Chodesh Adar, yeah? Right? When they signed the decree to kill the Jews, yeah? 70 days after, until actually they removed the decree. Look at this.
Removed the decree?
What?
Removed the decree?
Removed the decree.
Or revoked. Or added the new decree.
No. Where is that? Okay. So she actually begged. Oh, sorry. Beginning of chapter 8. Yes. Beginning of chapter 8, we see that she is now already. Haman has been killed. The decree actually hasn't been removed. Remember,
Mm.
Haman has died, but the decree is still out there. They need to
It has to be-
still,
It has to be revoked.
it has to be revoked, right? And she's coming and begging to him on number 8. Yes? And
In 3, chapter 3,
right,
verse
then they moved. But I can't find the right. It says after that in Chodesh HaShlishi, and 3 months after, 70 days exactly until actually they finish everything, which is actually corresponded to 70 Yom Lashana, Yom
Years
Lashana,
of exile.
70 years of exile. Right? I'll find the dates. But that was amazing. Yeah? All this time, then the writer of the Megillah, which again was written by Ruach HaKodesh, by Esther and Mordechai, the courtyard, this is everything that happened there refers to basically the temple, right? All the beautiful vessels, the courtyard, this is that kind of a temple. Yes? Who's the King of Kings? Who's sitting?
Yeah.
That's all Hashem. There's other aspects there that actually we're talking about. Name Israel doesn't appear in the whole Megillah. Yeah? The chronology, Achashverosh counts to 70 again, and holds another banquet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
And then it's
Purim
only
victory.
after Ahasuerus dies and Darius II, son of Esther, comes in, that actually Darius allows the construction of the temple to begin, and it's 70 years since the fall of Jerusalem.
Okay, so this is all timely to, basically kind of atone the fact that the Jewish people decided to stay in the exile and not taking the opportunity to come back and build the temple. But that crucial moment when Charvona came, that was the moment, basically. And this is why he remembered for good. Because without him, what do we know? Yeah, he actually put the puzzle now in the eyes of Ahasuerus together. That he realized that Mordechai is actually his lawyer. And now I can believe Queen Esther, what she says, and I'm safe. And then from there, they begged, to remove the decree. And we have a good ending for celebration of Purim.
Wow. Thank you very, very
Sorry
much.
for those of you who almost fell asleep.
No,